Well, hello and welcome to Nommay here in France for the final round of the UCI World Cup Cyclo-Cross. Taking a look across here at the course that these riders are going to face. Well, today we have both the women's and the men's elite races to bring you, which will be bringing you over the rest of the afternoon of racing. The women are just lining up, ready for action. There is the back of Katie Compton as she gets ready to try and win her 6th race in a row. On the front there, Marianne Vos in the World Championship colours. Nikki Harris there alongside Katie Compton. I talked to Katie before the start. She's been back in the United States for about 10 days for the National Championships. And she looks very relaxed and very ready for the next week of racing. With, of course, the build-up to the World Championships that we have in Uganda in 1 week's time. So these riders then lined up. They have got an interesting course that they face today. There is Marianne Vos. Can Vos now win today's race here in Nommay? She is, of course, right now sitting in 4th place overall in this World Cup. There's Helen Wyman, who's been training in Spain over about the last 10 days as she gets ready to see whether she can move herself up the standings a little bit. Well, there are 51 riders taking to the start. 14 different nations represented on the start list today. Wearing number 13 there is Meredith Miller. And Miller will be completing her professional career. She's decided certainly on the road in 1 week's time, and she will then think about whether she carries on with cyclocross depending on where her next stage of her career takes her. So far in this World Cup, we've seen 6 rounds of racing. Katie Compton has won the last 5 rounds of racing since Coxader. She was beaten, of course, in Valkenburg by Marianne Vos. And then, she won in Tabor, of course, in the Czech Republic. She took Coxader, she won in Zolder, and she took the last rounds in Roma. So this rider has been absolutely on fire all season. In 2nd place in the World Cup is Nikki Harris. She was very, very consistent until the last 2 rounds. She was 3rd in Valkenburg. She was then 2nd in Tabor, looking very, very strong indeed. As we take a look here at the course, 2.8 kilometres in length. And here in Nommay we do have, of course, the fearsome stairs, which are just after the finish line. You go off the tarmac onto mud, it's really slidey there, and then you go up the stairs. The crowd are all across the bridge at the top of the stairs to greet the riders. So we're looking down there at the finishing straight. The weather conditions we're saying is 4 degrees. But I think it's a little bit colder than that. The wind is very, very cold indeed. The red lights are on, as you can see, at the start line. We now have this kind of Formula 1 style start. Marianne Vos looks very ready over there on the right-hand side. She's almost got the style today of Lars van der Heer. Over there on the right as she gets ready to go powering off the start line. Katie Compton in the white, over there on the left. As the commissaires just giving these riders their last little bit of instruction before racing is underway. So they're under starters' orders. There we go. The green light goes, and now the charge goes on, ready for this sprint down the finishing straight. And it's Marianne Vos, no surprise, right at the start there. And surprisingly, I talked to her about this at the start, Katie Compton. Compton is right up there at the front already. I did talk to her. Here we go now, onto the stairs, straight after the start. And the rider who leads is Sabrina Schultz. Goes down the right shoulder, and Vos falls over. So Vos slides, and she managed to right herself and doesn't lose too many lengths. But as you can see, behind her, the rider's having to take it very, very steady up these stairs. So Vos making a mistake on the first lap here in Nommay, as Helen Wyman is now the leader. The European champion goes out in the lead, with Katie Compton just behind her. Wyman, of course, fifth overall, started the series well in fourth place in the first round, and then dropped right down to 11th. Feet out with levels here. And then she followed up with a sixth place, 2 10th places, and then another sixth. And I know Wyman has been training very, very hard down in space. She went over there with her husband, Stefan, and she also took a Canadian rider with her as well to do some hard road riding. And I must admit, when I saw Helen at the start today, as you can see, she's got a little touch of a tan, and she said that the training was very, very good. There's the replay. Marianne Vos, technically always so good, but a real slide, and she was very, very lucky there to not have more problems. And Vos now is onto the wheel of Helen Wyman. Third place now is Katie Compton. Behind her looks like one of the giant team from the United States. I'm just trying to pick out to see if that's Elle Anderson. But Wyman is certainly looking strong, and Vos is looking here to try and overtake her. The world champion with 1 week to go until we have the World Championship in Uga. We're all looking forward to what is going to be an absolutely stunning weekend of racing. Well, thanks for joining me for this live coverage here in Nommay. Positions can change. In the standings, there are 28 points between Nikki Harris and Sani Kant, and there are further 11 points between Kant and Vos. And with 60 points for the winner, 50 for second, 45 for third, 40 points for fourth, and we can run through the rest of the points. It does mean that Marianne Vos can move herself up into the top 3 overall. Sani Kant, Kant has a problem there as she hits the barriers on the right-hand side. So a few riders having some technical issues here, making a few mistakes, but now Marianne Vos has got herself into the position she wanted. Wearing number 1, the world champion goes through the pits area, and now she has gone on the attack. There's the mistake of Sani Kant. No one hit her, but she just toppled into the stake there at the side of the road. Vos now really motoring, but the mud splattering off the back wheel, throwing up all the time. Vos with the disc brakes on, the mechanical disc brakes, as she goes left and right around the course. And you can see her on this long-range camera looking very, very strong indeed. She, of course, had that little operation before she came back to racing on the 4th round of this World Cup in Namur. And since then, Vos has been getting stronger and stronger. So now off the bike, goes sprinting up the hill. Vos shouldering the bike, big daylight between her and the rest of the riders onto this rutted dropout, which takes her fast downhill. And if we look at recent racing, The recent cyclocrosses we had on the 19th of January, the traditional race in Leuven, and Vos beat Sani Kant with Nikki Harris in third place at that point. We then had a race in Ottingen before that with Helen Wyman taking the victory. And in the Super Prestige on the 29th of December, Sani Kant was the winner there. Vos second to Katie Compton in Roma, but today she wants a morale booster. She wants to go out and try and take this victory so that everyone else is concerned for next weekend, which she would dearly love to win, of course. So first place right now is Marianne Vos. Second place is Katie Compton. Third place is Helen Wyman, who also wants a little bit of a morale boost, ready for Ugeheide next week. Behind them is Eva Lechner, the Italian champion, in the tricolour colours, but Vos goes sprinting up that little rise. Talking to Katie Compton before the start, she is a really entertaining person to talk to. She'll tell you exactly how it is. I asked her about this start problem that she has, the fact that she always seems to be so many seconds down. And I said, why is that? Is it just that you just don't get the good starts? And she said, well, pretty much it is that either I don't get my foot in the pedal, or secondly, I'm not quite there when the lights go out, and then I end up miles behind everybody else and I have to race. It just seems to happen to me. And then she said, but the most important thing is I never ever stress about it. What I do is I just look across the course, see where everybody else is, and actually for me it's not too bad. I like to pick riders off. If I've got someone to chase in front of me, it keeps me motivated all the time, as opposed to sometimes when you're out in the lead, you're always thinking, oh, I've got a nice big lead, everything's going well, and therefore you're not thinking you really have to up the pace all the time. But right now, Marianne Vos is giving everyone a total display of how this is all going. She is leading everybody by a long margin. 10 seconds was the last time check we got for the world champion. This course really seems to suit her. She's already made that one mistake, but it's slightly muddy, a little bit slippy, but you can ride this properly like a road rider if you want to. And Katie Compton did say before the start that this course she was looking forward to, but Vos is working this bike really well now, going up these little rises. A big crowd here in Nommay for this Cyclo-Cross World Cup, and Vos is doing what she's done in her last couple of rounds, going out in the lead early, but we have seen her fade on a couple of occasions, and Compton's come back to her. Will today be the same? Marianne Vos then heading up to the completion of her first lap. Katie Compton still on the mud and is puffing and panting a little bit here, which is unusual for her. To me, she did look very relaxed, very good at the start, but she is losing time here to the world champion as she completes her first lap, and then we'll get an idea of the gap between her and Katie Compton. Right now, Marianne Vos, let's see, and hopefully she won't make the same mistake this time. Look at the way she picks the knees up, right on the toes, really gets that one absolutely right, and Compton is suffering as she goes across the line. Second place is Helen Wyman, the European champion. Compton is just trying to recover. Look at the gap, 29 seconds between, 30 seconds now between Marianne Vos and Helen Wyman. Harris is at 37 seconds, and this is an incredible ride by the world champion. Across the line then, Marianne Vos leads. Katie Compton at 32 seconds, but don't forget, in previous races, we have seen riders at a minute down and come back to the front of the race, particularly in the men's race. So Weinman second place, Compton in third, Eva Lechner in fourth, Nikki Harris of Great Britain in fifth, the rider who is second overall in this World Cup. Behind her, ominously, this name, Hanke Koopfernagel, who is now the German champion. And Koopfernagel has won here in Nommay on 2 occasions. Behind her is Sani Kant, followed by Marlene Morel and the American rider Elle Anderson, who is the great hope of American cyclocross for the future. Behind Katie Compton is now in 9th place. Elle Anderson, when we look at previous races in the last few weeks, Anderson had a fantastic result, getting on the podium of a world level race in the Super Prestige on the 29th of December behind Sani Kant and Eva Lechner. And a lot of people have mentioned to me that in terms of American cyclocross, Elle Anderson is the big name. So Marianne Vos still ploughing away on her own at the moment, with Weinman trying to track her. Let's take a look at Katie Compton and see how she's doing now. She does tend to start slowly. Maybe that fast start for her has not paid off. Maybe she's put herself into the red, and now she's got to try and just recover a little bit and come back to the leaders when she's ready. In terms of the World Cup, though, Katie Compton cannot be beaten by anyone else. She will win the World Cup. Marianne Vos then through the pits takes a clean bike. Shakes her head a little bit. I think that's just to get some of the tension out. And I now don't see Katie Compton on the course, surprisingly, behind these riders that she was with. So maybe she's had a big problem here. Maybe she doesn't feel right. Or Compton is dropping away from everybody else. Big surprise. Slight change there for number 31, Emmeline Gauthier of France. Vos really is dishing out a supreme example of cyclocross riding to everyone else. She's got that urgent style that she has when she's right on the top of her game, pulling herself right forward in the saddle, looking really focused, not worrying about anyone else. Just urgent, just getting everything she can out of the bike. She wants a big workout today ahead of the World Championships. Well, if Weinman stays here, the European champion from Great Britain, it would be the best performance of her campaign this season. In terms of the World Cup, she has, of course, won some races like we've mentioned in Ottingen. Weinman, you kind of sense, is just honing her form all ready for these World Championships next weekend. She desperately wants to be on the podium. Plunging down that descent then. So don't forget to visit uci.ch for all your information about what's going on in the world of cyclocross. And all the World Cup information is there. Vos going around that corner, taking her foot out just to steady herself a little bit. So far there is no one in this field that is able to match the world champion in any way whatsoever. All the other riders must just be looking across at her and just marvelling. Well, they won't be marvelling, the crowd are marvelling, but they'll just be looking across thinking, what do we have to do to bring this incredible rider back? She is such a stunning talent. Really churning those pedals over. A little bit of mud on her just from carrying the bike, but nothing really to tell. Nice clean machine. So as you can see, she's got the disc brakes on the bike, and she will have her tyre pressures if she's riding similar to most of the other riders in the field, somewhere around about 17.5 to 19 psi. I was talking to Katie Compton's mechanic before the start, and she's riding these handmade FMB tyres that are made here in France. And they've got a latex sidewall as opposed to a cotton sidewall. Some of these cotton tyres, they have to treat them to just stop them deteriorating so quick. And they found that the latex tyres mean that they can run them at about 2 psi lower pressure than they have to with the cotton tyres. So you probably find, as you can see, Marianne Vos has got the cotton tyres on. She'll have about 19 psi in. Katie was running 17.5 psi in the tyres at the start today. As we see Eva Lechner out on the course now. So the situation is, and I don't see Katie Compton anywhere on any of the timing chips at this moment in time. I'm wondering if she's just climbed off somewhere. She really looked to be suffering badly at the start of today's race, and I'm surprised because she said to me she felt really good. Sometimes that travel back and forward to the United States for her does cause her some problems. Back now to complete another lap. Marianne Vos is leading, as you can see, with absolutely no one near her. 41 seconds is the last time advantage I've got. 3 laps of racing to go. Crossing the line with 3 to go. Onto the steps again. And nicely done, up the steps. Jumps back onto that bike nice and easily. She's just letting the bike surf its way through the mud, taking her foot out from time to time, just making sure that she doesn't have any more problems. The last time check I had was 41 seconds, with Wyman in second, Lechner in third, Sani Kant in fourth, Nikki Harris in 5th place. I don't see Katie Compton anywhere. The advantage then, with 3 laps to go, is 46 seconds. Behind her is, behind Wyman is the Italian champion, Lechner, as Wyman goes onto the steps. 53 seconds is the advantage to Eva Lechner. And Lechner has a problem there at the bottom of the steps, really muddy there as you come off the tarmac. She goes sprinting up there, no, not too many issues. And the next time check is Sani Kant at 1:09, but Nikki Harris now is moving into 4th place, 1 minute and 8 seconds down. 3 laps of racing to go for the world champion. She really is stamping on the pedals today, choosing, as you can see, to wear almost full-length leg warmers. It's noticeably very, very cold here in Nommay. Helen Wyman choosing to wear shorts today with just long sleeves. She's got the overshoes on through this muddy section, which she doesn't mind. She lets the back wheel just surf out a little bit, and this will really boost Helen Wyman as she aims for a medal in the World Championships. Nikki Harris now onto this drop-off as she tries to head to the third place overall behind Eva Lechner now. She's hunting her down. With her is Sani Kant. A few riders having some problems on that climb. There is the Italian champion. She was in the same hotel as me last evening. All the Italian riders all together. The French team were also in that hotel, buoyed by the attendance of Francis Mouret. It was nice of their bus to leave very early this morning, parked just outside my window, but we won't say too much about that. Down the drop-off then for Eva Lechner. As you'll notice, Nikki Harris is not wearing the British Champions jersey anymore. She was beaten in the National Championships by Helen Wyman. Wyman choosing to wear the European Champions colours. And personally, as a Brit, I'd like to see the British Champions colours in the race. Look at the cadence on Marianne Vos. Get asked now and then about the amount of training that these riders do for cyclocross, how many hours a week that they're putting in, and asked a few of the riders this morning before the start how many hours training you put in, and the average seems to be on a big week around about 20, sometimes up to as many as 23, and the average kind of training week seems to be between 15 and 20 hours, but most of the riders saying that they're actually all about intervals and all about quality rather than the quantity of training they do. And now and then they'll just supplement the real quality training with some training blocks of up to that sort of 20-23 hour mark, just to give them the stamina as they build up to World Championships. So looking through the field now, I really don't see Katie Compton anywhere. It looks to me like she may well have retired. I haven't seen that here on the course, but Compton has certainly got a problem. Marianne Vos tracking her way through. The crowd's really appreciating seeing a rider of this talent right on the top of her game now. There is no doubt whatsoever that Marianne Vos has honed her form to absolute perfection, ready for the World Championships next week. She goes sprinting over every single one of these little bumps that she's got to face. And I'll be able to give you a time check shortly between her and the rest of the riders. Wyman will be in second, Lechner there in third place as she goes plunging down that descent. You can see Helen Wyman just across the top of the course there. And Vos is tracking round here with the crowd, whilst across the rest of the course, the rest of the riders can hardly even see her now. Puts the bike onto the shoulder, nice technique. Now she can just take things relatively steady. She doesn't have to go flat out because she's got plenty of daylight. The advantage now is 55 seconds between Marianne Vos of the Netherlands, Helen Wyman of Britain at 55, Lechner at 1:11, Sani Kant at 1:15, Harris at 1:70. I know, talking to the riders before the start, the leading nation right now in cyclocross is Great Britain, and Wyman, Harris and Gabby Duran. Duran is lying 13th overall in this World Cup. want to bring home that title if they possibly can. And if Marianne Vos stays like this, she'll get 60 points, which will put her on 270 points. Right now, Nikki Harris is on 249, and in terms of position, we would see Harris with 35 points for the 5th place. So Nikki Harris would be okay still in her 2nd place. And of course, with this performance and the loss of Katie Compton, it would put Harris into closing the gap on Katie Compton in front of her. There are 28 points between Harris and Sani Kant, and right now, in terms of the standings, I think it's a little bit of vying of position between Harris and Kant for 4th and 5th place. There would be no change overall. Well, I must admit, the last commentary I did for you was in Namur. You had Dan Jarvis with you for the previous round in Roma. But when you listen to the ambient microphones, you could hear the breathing of Marianne Vos as she went past the effects microphones around the course. She was absolutely on her limit. Today, she's nothing like that. Today, she's the athlete that we always know she is, as she goes up to complete another lap. 2 laps of racing to go for Marianne Vos. Her average speed, 19.45 kilometers an hour. Onto the steps, picks those feet up, looking really confident. A little slip again on that 3rd from top step, but didn't make her tumble over. There is Wyman coming back onto the tarmac now. Won't be long till she hits that, goes round that corner. Riding with the disc brakes, 19 psi in the tyres. Marianne Vos getting real mud splats now off the front wheel onto her face. She let the wheel just go off that harder ground. Here is Wyman then, followed by Lechner. Lechner riding very, very strongly, being hunted down by Nikki Harris of Britain. 1 minute and 2 seconds now is the advantage, and that is really impressive. Now another 16 seconds Marianne Vos has taken out of Helen Wyman on that lap, so she is not slowing down at all. 1 minute 12 to Eva Lechner, 1 minute 21 now to Nikki Harris, followed by the Belgian champion Sani Kant, who is at 1:29 that time. So Harris has taken 8 seconds from Sani Kant on that lap. Well, right now in terms of the World Cup, we would be seeing Katie Compton taking the victory. Nikki Harris would be in 2nd place overall. And right now, Marianne Vos would be moving into 3rd place overall. She would leapfrog Sani Kant. Considering Sani's performance over the last few rounds, she's ridden so well that she would drop off the podium. Sani Kant's performances in this World Cup: 8th in the 1st round in Valkenburg, 5th followed up to that, so she got better. Then she was on the podium, 2nd place where we were in Coxader, remember, up there in the sand. She then had a bad round where she dropped back down to 6th place in Namur. Following that up with a 3rd place in Zolder over the Christmas period, and 5th place last time when we were in Roma. But that 11 points difference between Marianne Vos and Sani Kant right now is going to be a 14-point difference in favour of Marianne Vos at the end of this race if Sani Kant doesn't do something about it. The pits are incredibly busy, aren't they? Look at that as they clean all those bikes off every lap. Each of these riders generally has 3 different bikes, all set up pretty much the same. I was looking at Katie Compton's bikes before the start. She's got these new Trek bikes with a little bit of play in them to give them. Just looking at this replay. I don't know if Marianne Vos, she's not very happy there because they've left her gears in a massive gear. So the mechanic not putting the bike into a small gear for her to get started, so she really had to put the throttle on as she went through the pits. That's going to have really hurt the legs. She won't be very happy about that at all. Tracks it up here. And onto the drop-off. Do have to be very careful down there. But Vos choosing to take the left-hand course. I thought I saw Katie Compton there. I'm just going to look through the current standings and see if we can find her. But I haven't seen her for a long, long time. Just run through some other positions for you then. Caitlin Antonow, another great performance from Caitlin today. She's in 7th overall. Marlene Morel is in 8th place. Hanka Kutvanagel in 9th. Alice Arzuvi of Italy in 10th. Elle Anderson now down in 12th place for the United States. And Meredith Miller of the United States down in 14th place. Wyman continues to track down the world champion in front of her. Looks down, sets herself up for that drop-off, doesn't want to make any mistakes, just lets the bike track nicely round that corner. Vos is taking her left foot out, speedway style, round some of these corners. Well, don't forget, throughout today's racing, you can join me on Twitter at @AmpTheCrossing, and do make sure that you have a little look at UCI.ch as well. Look at the way Marianne Vos is sprinting her way up that little climb. In the under-23s race earlier, we saw a real tussle between the 2 front riders, and Mathieu van der Poel made a few little mistakes on that rise that we've just seen Marianne Vos racing up, and he had to try and chase his way back all the time. Marianne Vos's head just urgently on the front of the saddle, every now and then out the saddle, sprinting as though she's in a road race. It's so impressive. There's no end to this woman's talents, is there? She's a world champion on the track, world champion on the road, world champion cyclocross rider. She's such an impressive athlete, and aside from that, considering how much in demand this rider is, she will always give you time of day. Wyman now, just letting the bike track its way up that climb, not deciding to shoulder it, so saving a little bit of energy by just running the bike up that rise there. Right, let's see who's in 3rd place this time, as we now wait for the camera to pick up the 3rd place rider. It's the Italian champion who jumps onto the machine first. She's being chased down by the former British champion, Nikki Harris, 2nd overall. As the camera cuts back now to Marianne Vos, I can tell you that the difference between Lechner and Nikki Harris is now a slender 11 seconds. It's not that much between those riders, but Sani Khan now is racing back to Nikki Harris. So Harris had an advantage of 11 seconds last time on between her and Sani Khan, but it's now dropped to 2 seconds. So Harris having a little bit more of a difficult lap that time. Here we go again. 1 lap to go now for the world champion, with the flags and flags flying all the way down the straight. It is Marianne Vos who has absolutely dominated this cyclocross round, the final round of the World Cup here in Nommay in France. She's going to get the bell after 35 minutes of racing, and Vos is now going to go out on course and try and pick up an even bigger advantage on the rest. And she's just told women's cyclocross, next week in Ugaida, you are going to have to watch out for me, because my form is now at its absolute peak, and with 1 week to go and a taper down until the weekend, you would now see the odds on Marianne Vos winning the World Championship absolutely drop. Previously, you would have put all your money on Katie Compton, but just as she always does, Vos has got everything absolutely right. This rider also, would you put some money on her to win a medal in the World Championship? It's now very, very possible. She put a massive block of training in December. She went down to Spain, she spent some time with Gabby Durant and some other riders down there in Spain, getting her form, a massive block ready for the assault on a championship medal. And another block last week. But Eva Lechner is now starting to come back to her as well. So an impressive performance by the Italian rider here in 3rd place. Weinman now, this time, is 1:16 down on Marianne Vos. Another 14 seconds taken out by Marianne Vos. Lechner now is going to cross the line. She will be 1 minute and 30 seconds down. She's 14 seconds behind Weinman on the course, and actually looking at it, she is dropping away, so the camera really is foreshortening things. Sani Khan now with Nikki Harris on her wheel. Khan's head going left and right. They are 1 minute 51 down on Marianne Vos. So right now, as things stand, we are seeing that the World Cup would go to Katie Compton. In 2nd place would be Nikki Harris. In 3rd place would be Marianne Vos. That is how things are looking as far as the overall championship after 7 rounds is concerned. Moving now into 6th place is Ellen van Looy of Belgium. Van Looy is 6th overall in this World Cup, and she's 6th here in the final round of racing. In 7th place is the American Caitlin Antonow. Another impressive performance by Caitlin. We've mentioned already, she rode very, very well a few weeks ago. Rides for the Cannondale squad. And at 22 years of age, Caitlin Antonow, another big hope for American cyclocross. Hanke Koet-Van up there in 10th place. Koet-Van is getting stronger. Who's to say she won't put in a performance in a World Championship? She may be able to hear the cold, icy wind now blowing across this course as Vos takes a bike. Have they put it into the right gear this time? The answer is yes. So she doesn't have to do some weight training through the pits. Marianne Vos then going out on the course. Thanks very much for a couple of the tweets that you've had sent me about Katie having an asthma attack out on the course. I hadn't got that information, so thank you very much, and also thank you to some of you who mentioned the technical sounds on the microphone. I do agree that we've been trying to work on it, and I've only got your messages in the last few minutes about the microphone being very, very low, and I do agree with you. I can hear it in my ears, so we'll get the technicians to work on it, ready for the men's race as well. So thanks to all of you, I really do appreciate you tweet me from time to time, and I'm on my own, so I can't always look at them, but I've just had a quick glance, and we'll get everyone working on sorting out the balance of the ambient sound on the microphone before the next race is underway. Right, let's concentrate as we bring Marianne Vos home to the completion of this race here in Nommay. Considering on lap number 1, she had that little slip on the steps, and it looked then like things weren't going to go her own way today. Today it's she's just thrown that one away and gone, oh, we don't really care. I made a mistake, but now I'm going to go out and give everybody a display on how to ride a cyclocross race. She's now gone through the split point out on the course, so we'll see how she is doing relative to Helen Wyman. At the finish line that time it was 1:16. So down the drop off for Helen Wyman. Of course she can, I think I'm right in saying she can choose to wear the European Champions colours or the British Champions colours. It may be as simple as she hasn't got her British Champions colours yet. Vos over the crest of this rise for the final time. So we look through the last few races. Katie Compton had won 5 races out of 5. Marianne Vos has not taken a round of the World Cup since Valkenburg. Vos has finished 2nd for the last 3 rounds. 2nd in Roma, 2nd in Zolder, 2nd in Namur. Well, Helen Wyman, I must admit, she raced Nikki Harris and Gabby Duran, certainly Nikki Harris in the National Championships of Great Britain, and she beat Harris. And today, she has looked like a cyclocross rider that we saw in some of the other races that we don't normally see in the World Cups. Sometimes she just doesn't get the race right in the World Cup. She goes out early and tries to extend a lead on everyone else. Sometimes it doesn't work for her, but today Helen Wyman has got her race absolutely right. She, without any problems, is going to finish on the podium of a World Cup for the first time this season. Marianne Vos then, through the trees, sprints out of that little corner, over this rise, still working the cadence so much, keeping those knees lifted all the time, concentrating hard, a little bit of a puff there, as she goes in to just try and take a little bit of recovery. Downhill now, onto the tarmac, and here we go. She's going to set herself up for the victory. Marianne Vos has led since the top of the stairs on the first lap. It is going to be a victory for the world champion. 1 week from the defence of her title, wearing number 1 in the rainbow bands, and now she sends the signal out to everybody else. Next week, you better come after me because I'm on absolutely top form. Marianne Vos wins round 7 of the World Cup here in Nommay. A stunning performance from Marianne Vos. She made that look all so easy. With the exception of one little slip on the stairs, everything else was absolutely textbook. And if you're a young rider who wants to find out how to ride a race to almost perfection, then go back and watch that over and over again. Right, we're now looking to see the second place rider. Helen Whiteman now, the European champion, the British champion, is now heading towards her first podium of this year's World Cup. Over this little rise. Now Helen Whiteman out the saddle. She's got no worries behind her, so she doesn't have to be concerned about taking too many risks as she screeches those disc brakes down onto the tarmac. Whiteman now sets herself up for the finish line, down the finishing straight, and she's now going to finish second to the world champion here in Nommay in France. Whiteman really deserves this. She has raced so hard all season. She has had a campaign that's seen her finish in 4th place right at the beginning of the season, but she takes 2nd place today, her first podium 1 week ahead of the World Championships. 3rd place is the Italian Eva Lechner. She finished 3rd in Roma. Now she's going to take 3rd place here. So Eva Lechner takes the 3rd place, the Italian champion. Consistent performances over the last 2 rounds for her. Sani Kant will be in 4th place, Nikki Harris in 5th place today. So in terms of the points overall, Van Looy is going to be behind them. Voss picks up 60 points, Wyman picks up 50, Lechner will be on 45, Sani Kant will be on 40, and Nikki Harris will be on 35. There will be no change then in the top 2, but Voss will now be on the podium, 3rd place overall in this World Cup. So Voss then crossing the line there, looking very, very happy indeed as we look down on the podium. Kurt van Aerle crosses the line there. Caitlin Antonow, we haven't seen finish, was in 7th place. Kurt van Aerle in 8th. Sophie de Boer behind Kurt van Aerle. Marlene Morel in 10th place. Caroline Marnie is the rider in 11th place, the French team. Looking to improve on their previous positions, so they have the 10th and 11th overall. Meredith Miller in the penultimate race of her cyclo-cross pro career in 12th place. She'll be moving on to work with Orica Greenedge. And the rest of the riders heading up to the finish line now. These points count. You may hear in the background here in Nommay that we have the legend that is Daniel Manjas on the microphone, the speaker of the Tour de France. 41 Tour de France's he's been the speaker of. And his voice is absolutely synonymous with French bike racing. A little bit of an interview going on with her, with Marianne Vos in the background. Well, there's a lot of spectators here today. Quite a few thousand have made their way into this course in Nommay. Those of you who don't know the area, Nommay is of course the home of the Peugeot car. A massive Peugeot factory just not far from this Nommay course. And if you're a fan of Peugeot, you can go there and you can go to the Peugeot Museum and see all the old cars. Actually not too far from here. So if you like all things mechanical and you like to know how things get, there's a bit of mud. Even muddier for the rest of the afternoon. We'll come back to that in a second. Marianne Vos then is the winner after 44 minutes of racing. Wyman in second place, Lechner in third, Sunny Kant in fourth, Nikki Harris in fifth, and Ellen Van Looy in sixth place. There's the rundown of the rest. Al Anderson dropping away to 18th place, having been a lot higher up in the classification earlier on in the event. Meredith Miller, the American rider, up there in 12th place. Sabrina Stulten's not having a great day in 17th. So in this area you have the Peugeot car factory, and not too far away, just a few kilometres down the road, is Belfort, where they build the TGV. So lots goes on around here in terms of industrial manufacture of vehicles. Confirmation then of the World Cup standings after this round in Nommay. The win in 2014 goes to Katie Compton of the United States of America. She takes the title ahead of Nikki Harris of Great Britain in second, and in third place, Marianne Vos, the world champion. Running through the rest of the order, Sunny Kant drops down to fourth, Helen Wyman stays in fifth place, Ellen Van Looy stays in sixth place. The Italian Eva Lechner, consistent performances over the last couple of rounds, and moves into seventh place. And that's the makeup of the rest of the top 10. Lechner, before today's start, was 10th overall. Well, we will be bringing coverage of the men's elite race after a little bit of a break. All to be decided for that title as well. I'm sure we're going to see some fantastic racing, but this women's race, maybe not the tussle we expected, but it does start to give some good debate about next weekend, what's going to happen in the World Championships. Here's the replay then. This is what happened. First lap, and Marianne Vos takes a tumble on the steps. At this point, Katie Compton looking very, very good right at the front. Wyman also there. And the leading rider at that point was Sabrina Stultens. Wyman was confident all the way through. But it's Marianne Vos who displays speed, strength, determination, and absolutely supreme form today, all the way around this course. Wyman rode a very consistent race, and as the event went on, Marianne Vos got those stairs absolutely nailed. Well, big crowd and lots of press waiting for the presentation now. And hopefully we'll get the chance to hear from Marianne Vos on her victory shortly.
aussi, quoi.
Voilà, dans un instant, la cérémonie protocolaire. Donc, les différents championnes recevront.
Well, the Swiss fans are out in huge numbers today, cheering on their favourite riders in all the fan clubs. That's one of the Kevin Powell's fan club there. Well, that hat will definitely keep you warm, won't it? Another nice shot there of Marianne Vos sprinting her way up the climb. See the technique of her as she just grabs the bike and uses that down tube, putting her hands safely onto the drop handlebar section. And her technique on the steps today, very, very good apart from that first lap. So we should be hearing from Marianne Vos shortly. Just get her reflection on today's race.
Marianne Vos, many congratulations. Landslide victory despite a very early crash on the first stairs.
Well, yeah, that was a bit of a bad start, but then it was okay after that. And, well, actually in the first lap I felt quite good. It's really slippery, so you have to find a good line. But then I was in the rhythm and I could keep the rhythm.
How important is this victory with Worlds in mind next week?
Well, of course, it's nice to win the race, and victory is always nice. But it's well, the best of all, it's good for the confidence for next week.
Of course, Katie Compton, a World Cup winner, had asthmatic troubles today. You expect her next week?
Well, of course, this was it's a week to go, and she will be good next week. And of course, it's not nice to see her having these problems in this race. But she'll be good, yeah, next week.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So Marianne Vos paying a compliment to Katie Compton, knowing that it's the first time this year we've seen Katie Compton suffering with asthma problems. And she knows that Compton will go away and she'll get herself ready for the World Championship. She has been absolutely dominant this season. She has won 5 races in a row. Koksijde, Tabor, Namur, Zolder and Roma. All victories for Katie Compton and never outside the top 2 in this entire World Cup until today. So we're waiting now for the ceremony to present the riders who have taken the top places today. We're right down here on the banks of this lake here in Nommay. If you're wondering, where are we? Getting an idea of where we are in France. Well, you basically fly into Basel, which is the town that is split, Swiss on one side, French on the other, a bit of German, and you fly into the airport and you have to choose if you want to go into Switzerland or France through 2 different doors. I chose to go into Switzerland. I was supposed to go into France, but never mind. You just go up in a lift across the other side and down, and you're back in France again. So we're about, in terms of driving, we're 40 minutes from Basel down in Switzerland. And most of the riders stayed in a place, as you can see there on the podium, in Montbéliard, which is a town the Tour de France visited here in 1997 from memory. So you wonder now how these riders will play next week's World Championships. Knowing that the form that Marianne Vos has got is absolutely spectacular. All they have to do is hope that they can hold on to the wheel of Marianne Vos. But on this form today, the only rider really who can beat her is Katie Compton. But so many of these other riders will be dreaming this week of taking the World Championship. And we have seen Vos this year go into the red zone and have to ease back during races. And such a difference a week can make. A little bit of time then as we wait for the ceremony. Thanks for all your messages on Twitter at @McCrossan, and I know all of you are also looking at UCI.ch for the information on the World Cup. It gives you all the standings, gives you all the information, and of course it will give you information on the World Championships, which are taking place next week. I can just see Marianne Vos walking behind the podium, and Katie Compton is there as well, ready for the World Cup presentation. Vos then will be presented as the winner of today, and we will get the presentation for the top three in the World Cup as well. So in third place today, the Italian champion, Eva Lechner. In second place today, from Great Britain, Helen Wyman. And the winner today, Marianne Vos. Her second win in the World Cup this season, bookending the wins of Katie Compton.
Donc Eva Lechner va être récompensée par monsieur Gilles Dacosta, donc le président du Conseil fédéral de la Fédération française de cyclisme et président du comité cyclisme de Franche-Comté. Là, voilà, donc Gilles Dacosta qui félicite les trois concurrentes. La deuxième de l'épreuve, Hélène Wyman, Grande-Bretagne, va être récompensée par monsieur Eric Jacotet, vice-président de la Fédération française de cyclisme.
So the riders being presented with the trophies from today. As I look out on the commentary box, there are just fans all the way along the banking, all the way up across the bridge. Great crowd here.
Et récompensé maintenant par monsieur Eric Lançon, vice-président du pays de Montbéliard Agglomération, qui remet donc le trophée de lauréate à Marianne Vos.
And Helen's much-travelled bear is now in the cup. Marianne Vos takes today's victory.
Donc Hélène Wyman et Eva Lechner, et pour saluer la victoire de Marianne Vos, mesdames et messieurs, place maintenant à l'hymne national des Pays-Bas.
So the national anthem now of the Netherlands.
Voilà le bonheur de Marianne Vos, une semaine avant de disputer, de défendre son titre de championne du monde en Garagne. Maintenant, nos 3 hôtesses vont remettre les bouquets donc pour nos 3 championnes. Voilà, des hôtesses bien présentes à nommer que l'on retrouve également.
So the riders will then be presented with the flowers.
Avec nous aujourd'hui, je l'ai dit ce matin, je répète, ce sont 3 sœurs.
So that's the view I can see from the spectators across the top of the banking there.
C'est parfait. Nous allons donc maintenant, il y a les récompenses vont être remises par donc Eric Lançon, Eric Jacotet et Gilles Dacosta qui vont remettre donc les cadeaux à ce bien beau podium. Marianne Vos est évidemment invitée de solides ambitions pour aller à la conquête.
So I wonder next weekend how many of those 3 riders that we see there are going to be on the podium of the World Championships.
Mais la démonstration qu'elle a effectuée aujourd'hui,
well, we wish Katie Compton all the best.
Extrêmement difficile de lui faire échec.
Having that asthma attack brought on by the grass around this area.
Pour le 2e protocole du jour dans la catégorie élite dame, celui concernant le classement général de la Coupe du Monde UCI. Bravo donc à Marianne Vos, Hélène Humann et Eva Lechner.
And when you're an athlete like Katie Compton and you know that something is really wrong, then you just have to pull out like that and make sure that you maintain your health ready for the World Championships next week. That's her big dream. She desperately would love to win that world title.
Marianne Vos, Pays-Bas, 3e de la Coupe du Monde. Elle était donc à la 4e place. Elle retrouve le podium.
So now we are moving on to the presentation of the World Cup of this season. In 3rd place overall at the end of the season is Marianne Vos. In 2nd place, after a very consistent campaign as well, Nikki Harris of Great Britain.
La concurrente venue des États-Unis d'Amérique, Catherine Compton, États-Unis d'Amérique, lauréate de la Coupe du Monde dames.
And here she is, she's recovered now. Katie Compton is the World Cup winner for this season, so well deserved. She finished 2nd in the 1st round, took 5 wins in a row. Today is just one of those hiccups that you have. But she is the World Cup winner for the 2nd year running. Nikki Harris was 3rd overall last year. She moves into 2nd place. Van Passen was the silver medalist last year. And we see Marianne Vos on the podium today. But I must admit, it's been a fantastic 7 rounds of racing. Dan Jarvis has brought some of them to you. I've brought you all the others. We've thoroughly enjoyed bringing you all this racing. And that is how the podium looks at the end of 7 fantastic races. So there we are, that is the ceremony of the World Cup. Thanks very much for joining us for all the rounds and some great racing. We'll be bringing you the men's race here in Nommay. But from me, Anthony McCrossan, thank you very much for listening. Bye for now. Welcome to Nommay for live coverage of the men's elite cyclocross, the final round of the World Cup. We've had some fantastic racing over the last few months. And today's a big day for a young rider from the Netherlands, Lars van der Haar, who is looking here to take the World Cup title. Here are the standings. He has 407 points ahead of Niels Albert in second place and the German champion Philipp Walsleben in third. Lars van der Haar has been a fantastic competitor. He took the first round in Valkenburg. In Tabor he was dominant again. He had a difficult day in Koksijde in the sand, and he dropped to 5th in Namur, but since then he started to come back. He won in Zolder and he was second in Roma, and today it is a very, very big day for such a young bike rider. Well, thank you very much for joining me here for this coverage of this final round, 1 week before the World Championships. The weather conditions, cloudy, 4 degrees centigrade. I'm not so sure it's 4 degrees. At the moment I have got 4 layers of clothing on, and I'm in the commentary box. The woolly hat will be going on shortly. As you can see, everyone else is wearing them. The pits are going to be very, very busy, and the course of 2.8 kilometers, exactly the same as that we've seen in the women's race. Here's the start line then, as the riders get ready for racing. And there's the young rider that we are looking for to be the rider who can take this World Cup. Lots of concentration on these riders' faces. We're just a few minutes away now from the race start. Here's the previous winners of this World Cup. You'll see back there in 1996 an interesting win from Richard Groenendaal of the Netherlands. And just before the women's race, I saw Richard Groenendaal standing alongside Lars van der Haar, and they were doing a television interview. Groenendaal, of course, a fantastic bike rider in cyclocross, and Groenendaal is the manager of the Rabobank team. So this is the start list of the riders who will take to the start today. 69 riders, 17 nations represented. Thank you to all of you for your various messages about both the racing and also getting the sound right, which we've been working really hard on. So hopefully everything is good for this race. These riders, of course, 1 week from the World Championships, all World Championships taking place in Ucaheda in 1 week's time. We're going to see such a great weekend of bike racing. And you just never know who's going to take the world titles. Well, one rider notable from his absence today is Sven Nys, who is training down in Spain at the moment, not choosing to take to the start, but all the other big names are here ready for today's race. So So I had a bit of a chat to Lars van der Haar just an hour or so ago, just before the start of racing, just to get his thoughts on the possible winning of this World Cup, which he has fought so hard for. I think I'm right in saying as long as he finishes in the top 20 today and doesn't have a major issue, then he will be the World Cup winner. Niels Albert is in second place. Philip Valsleben is in third place overall in this World Cup after 6 rounds of racing. There is Francis Moret. We'll talk, I'm sure, a lot about him, the French champion. Francis Moret, if you've been following this World Cup over the last few months, the winner in Namur. Alongside him is the German champion there. There is Valsleben. Francis Moret was in the same hotel as me last night. All the French team there, lots of camera crews. And there is Kevin Powles wearing number 4 today from the Sunweb team. Lars van der Haar in the white, 1 race from winning the World Cup. I've had a little message on Twitter from his girlfriend, Lucy Garner, the double world junior champion. I know that she's as excited as he is about the prospect of him taking this World Cup, and she's asked me to give him a big cheer. There's Niels Albert, wearing number 2 today. Albert's been interesting this season in terms of the consistency of his performance. He finished 11th in the first round, and he's been as low as 13th on rounds of this World Cup, but he has won 2 rounds as well. You can see the flags flying. Right, we're underway now as the riders go sprinting past the camera, getting their feet into the pedals. The big giant screen there on the left-hand side to keep all the fans entertained as some of them go sprinting up the banking. But the French champion is right at the front. Francis Moret is going to go off the tarmac onto this slidey, muddy section to hit the steps, and if you get that one wrong, you have all sorts of issues. Moret lives about 30 kilometers from here in a very tiny little town. Only a few inhabitants of where he lives. But Moret is a real favourite of the fans in this area, and as he goes plunging down the descent, there are riders still making their way up the steps for the first time. So the leading rider is Simon Zahner of the Swiss team. He rides for EKZ Racing, and he is the rider who has gone out in the lead, motivated of course by being so close to Switzerland. He's the rider in the white and blue with the yellow shoes, and immediately more riders trying to get across to his wheel. You want to get out in front if you possibly can. Now rider number 63, Marco Bianco, number 53 there is Marcel Miesen. He goes into the lead. Up towards the front also is Sascha Weber in the black and white of one of the German squads. Tracking very closely is number 38, Korn van Kessel of this Telenet Fidea team. So on the left-hand side in the red and yellow from this Stanner Lifts squad, wearing number 53, in second place, Marcel Miesen. So still our leader, number 54, Sascha Weber, riding for Varon Classics Dolotini. As he picks his way through these twists and turns, very important to try and get out there in the lead through these muddy sections. I was talking to some of the riders who actually said if you get your tyre pressures right and you take the right line round some of these corners, the mud is very, very slidey, and you can open up quite a few meters on the opposition that you have. Well, this Stanner Lift squad have got some very good riders in them. Not least is the rider that we saw ride strongly before, Martin Biener, the national champion of the Czech Republic. He was second in Zolder, and as we watch the long line of riders making their way around the twists and turns of this course will start to get some semblance of order in the field. So it is Korn van Kessel making up the leading trio. Marcel Miesen there in second place through the pits, and you'll probably find that with the exception of the first lap, most of these riders will choose probably to change bikes every single lap. The leading rider now is Tom Miesen, who has been 3 times 6th place in this World Cup campaign, and he now goes on the attack. So Tom Miesen is stretching this field out as they go now out on the course. Over the last few weeks then, we've had various crosses in different locations. Just after Christmas we had the Super Prestige. On the 29th of December, Sven Nys was the winner of that event ahead of Miesen and Niels Albert. In Otterdam, which was won in the women's race we mentioned by Helen Wyman, it was Van Aert who took that victory as a young rider who was earlier on the winner of the under-23 race here ahead of Van der Poel. Van Turnhout was in second place, Peters was in third place. In the 19th of January we were in Leuven for the cross, and Sven Nys again was the winner ahead of Kevin Pauws and Miesen. Tom Miesen was in third place that day, and Miesen also was in second place in Zonnebeek not too long ago. So Miesen is a rider who is showing some very, very good form as we head towards World Championship time. He's a Belgian rider there in the yellow and blue of the Fedea team. Same squad as Nicky Harris that we've just seen finish in second place. And he's a rider known for taking aerials in the same way that Zdeněk Štýbar is. So down that drop-off. Again, these riders will have around about 20 psi in those tyres, choosing to ride the super mud tyres today. So it is still Miesen leading. There is Lars van der Haar in the white as the World Cup leader. He said to me before the start, going to go out, I'm going to race this properly. He said if you don't go out and you don't race and you try and hold something back to just maintain your position, then things can go wrong. So he didn't want to do that today. He was going to go out, he's going to race hard, and he was going to put himself in the top 20 and ensure that he takes this World Cup at the end of a stunning season for this youngster. Tom Miesen then, concentrating hard, thinking about Lars van der Haar, and those of you who were interested in his career as a rider, he was twice a World Cup winner as an espoir in 2011, 2012. So his transformation from under-23 rider here into the elite level, and he's still very, very young, has been absolutely fantastic to watch. Right now he is 22 years of age. He'll have his 23rd birthday in July. But actually talking to him, and I have to admit it's the first time today that I've had a chance to talk to Lars for any long period of time, he looks you absolutely straight in the eye, and he is so focused. An incredible young rider to actually meet and talk to properly. I've had the chance quickly to say hello, but no long period of time of actually hearing his thoughts. And what really strikes you is just those eyes that look into you, and he never removes his gaze. So confident as a rider, so confident as an individual, and it's great to see. So Tom Miesen then completing lap number 1. 7 minutes and 33 seconds of racing gone as he heads up towards the completion of this lap, and we'll get an idea of where everyone else is. There we go, goes across the line, 7 minutes 47 for the first lap. Musen leads, a little group of riders behind. Valsleben is in there somewhere. In the group is Thies van Amerongen, also Francis Murray, Philip Valsleben, Korn van Kessel, Sascha Weber, Simon Zana, Bart Arnouts, Klaas van Toornet and Radomir Simonek are all there in the top placings overall. Just looking to see where Lars van der Haar is. He's got to do some racing here, because he is actually quite a long way down. Tom Musen letting that back wheel just slide out until the grip happens on these really chunky tyres. They're around about 32 mil. And as he gets onto this rise, he's having to really force the pedals over so he doesn't have to get off the bike. Down this drop off, taking the right-hand line. Trying to look for a little bit of grip away from the slidey section. Valsleben now in second place, and looking through the field to see where Lars van der Haar is. There is Murray, who will want to take this victory if he can in front of his home crowd. Well, van der Haar now is starting to make his way through the field. There he is in the top maybe 15 places overall. Well, Nommay has been a place of the French Championship in the last few years. It's also been an international cyclocross, not necessarily at World Cup level. And here in the Championship of France, it was Murray who won here in 2013. Jennison was in second place, and John Gadret, who, as you know, has been a rider who has been top positions in the Giro d'Italia. He finished in third place in 2013 here. Murray won the International Cyclocross here in 2011 ahead of his compatriot Steve Chanel, and Franzoy was in third place. And the last time we had a World Cup cyclocross here was in 2009. It was won by Niels Albert ahead of Zdeněk Štýbar and Sven Nys in third place for Belgium. Lars Booms also won here, and we go back through other World Championship, World Cup level events. Bart Vellens won here in 2004, Adrie van der Poel in 1999, Pontoni in 2000, Vervecken in 2002, Erwin Vervecken, one of the organisers of the Namur cyclocross. Works for the organisation now that promotes many cyclocrosses in that area in Namur. So the leading rider still Musen. Three riders now making their way off the front of the race. Murray sitting in sixth place, as you can see, in the tricolour colours as the French champion. And Lars van der Haar now into around about 11th place. So it was interesting to see Grunendahl as the team manager of Lars van der Haar. Grunendahl, such a spectacular cyclocross rider in his career. As Musen goes down the drop-off, Valsleben behind him. Two Telenet Fedea riders at the front of this race. In that little trio. The crowd crisscrossing to try and get the best vantage points they possibly can. So Valsleben makes the junction to the wheel of Tom Musen. The campaign of Valsleben over the last few rounds. Third place in the first round. Followed that up with a second, then another third, and then he went off the boil a little bit. He was 11th in Roma, and he was 9th place in the fourth round of racing in Namur as well. So Valsleben over the last couple of rounds has not been right on the form that we saw earlier on in the campaign. Today is looking much, much better. Tom Musen then up this rise, really working hard, and having to just go a little bit left there as Valsleben chose to get off the bike. And these two riders now opening up a bit of an advantage from the next rider on the course, Korn van Kessel. So Musen followed by the German champion Valsleben. This Telenet Fedea team got such fantastic support. Many of these, every one of these riders in Telenet Fedea has their own camper van. Seeing how much he's having to work up there, went a bit left. Valsleben chose to run all the way up that little rise, and he didn't lose any traction at all on the rider in front. So number 38, Korn van Kessel, trying to come back up now to the wheel of these two leading riders. He is getting there. The 22-year-old rider from the Netherlands, Korn van Kessel, trying to shut the gap. Tom Musen, one of the older riders in the field at 32 years of age. He's really working hard. Down the drop-off, back round onto the tarmac, and these three riders are around the course and heading in now to complete another lap. So Musen followed by Valsleben, followed by Van Kessel, and the French fans are going to go a little bit wild now because the French champion Francis Moret is making his way now across the gap to the three leaders. And Daniel Manjas in the background is urging this crowd on, who are banging the boards in the finishing area. And that second lap was even quicker. 7 minutes and 32 seconds for Tom Musen. Crossing the line now and heading on now towards the stairs. Sprinting their way up to the top of the stairs in that group is number 7, Bart Arnouts, wearing the colours of AA Drinks. But Tom Musen still the leader. Valsleben uses the tree there on the left-hand side for a little bit of trajectory and uses it to very, very good effect. Now going on the attack as he sprints past Tom Musen. Valsleben's a rider who likes to attack, doesn't he? When we saw him in Namur just a few weeks ago and in Zolder, he really wanted to attack all the time. Sometimes he's the sort of rider you wonder whether if he just held a little bit back, whether he would win more races. Here we go, watch this. Gets onto the tree, uses it to go racing round, and now he's opened up an advantage on Musen and Van Kessel. Francis Moret comes round the corner, not too far away. Moret's deficit as they went across the line that time was 9 seconds. That lap was 15 seconds faster than the opening lap, which of course is a little bit longer. But they've now got their momentum going. So Valsleben back in the German champions' colours again. It looks to me like Moret is going to get there, isn't he? Look at this, the cowbells are being rung around this Nommay course. And Nommay is just tracking the riders in front of him. He's not got too stressed about it. Slowly but surely he's edging closer and closer to the front of this World Cup that he so desperately wants to win. And we think back to his victory earlier on in the season. And he did say at the time that his big hope was the World Championship. So his victory was in Nommay. It's a really testing course for those of you who joined me for that. Very difficult indeed, lots of uphill sections, really technical descents. But Nommay won that day from Van Toornut, and Niels Albert was in third. That's the day that Lars van der Haar was in fifth, and Tom Musen was in sixth place. Nommay then didn't ride the next round, did he? He chose to take a little bit of a breather. He previously finished in second place in Koksijde. He finished fourth in Tabor before that. He took the victory in Nommay, then had a little bit of a rest, came back in Roma for the last round and took another fourth place on the day that Niels Albert won. So Nommay is looks to me like he's just measuring his effort all the time, making sure he had that little rest period in the middle of the season to ensure his morale was high after that victory and not to get too tired. Interesting talking to Katie Compton before the start of the women's race. She was mentioning that, you know, different body shapes and types of rider, the way that they train and how they have to manage their tiredness and their effort. And she was saying, you know, I'm a sort of rider who I'm a little bit older than some of the women, and I have to really manage my effort. I do get tired, so I can't do these long road rides every single week. And I was talking to Helen Wyman's husband, who said you can actually, if you're not careful, you can train yourself slow, was his words. So you've just got to make sure that you get the training balance absolutely right, and you keep the intensity and quality up whilst not getting too tired. It's a fine balance that you have to strike between being on top form and being unwell, and that's the worst thing for an athlete, waking up thinking they're on top form and that throat's sore and they've got a bit of a cold, and then suddenly the form is disappearing. So the opening lap, 7 minutes 47 seconds. Lap number 2, 7 minutes 32, a lot quicker. And this leading duo, Valsleben with a bit of an advantage on Musen. Now Nommay gets into third place. Well, the French are really going to enjoy this. And I have to say, of all the regions of France I've ever been to, I have not met such welcoming people ever in any area of France I've ever been to. They are loving the fact that this World Cup is here. They're so friendly, so welcoming, and we've had a great couple of days. Valsleben's looking strong today. There's no rock on those shoulders yet. Musen in second place, still maintaining. And where is Francis Nommay? Here he is, with Korn van Kessel on his wheel. These four riders opening up a pretty big advantage now on the rest of the field. Lars van der Haar has moved himself into fifth place, as you can probably spot if you look across, and his deficit now is 13 seconds on Korn van Kessel, so he won't be getting too worried. Right now, Lars van der Haar is riding into the World Cup winning position. Must just say thank you to all of you for joining me on Twitter today. Really appreciate it. At McCrossan, and do go and have a little look at UCI.ch for all the details of these World Cups and also the World Championships that are 1 week away. Some of you have sent me messages about there's not so much beer and frites here in Nommay. You're absolutely right. Right, completing another lap. 5 laps to go. And Valsleben leads with Musen in second place. 7 minutes 31 that time as the fans in the finishing straight bang the boards, and Francis Moret is only 7 seconds away from the lead now. Moret goes through in third, in fourth place there, but importantly in fifth place is Lars van der Haar. Looking back through the rest of the field as these riders hit the steps, there is Van der Haar in the white. Number 38 there is Korn van Kessel. So Van der Haar is certainly starting to close up on everybody. That tree has been perfectly positioned for Philip Valsleben today, hasn't it? He's enjoying that little turn, grabbing hold of the tree, swinging himself round it, almost like a Madsen handsling, and then getting underway again. So Valsleben so far, second in Tabor, third in Koksijde, and we haven't seen him up there since Solder. He was in fourth. But Moret is the rider that everyone is urging on now. He's got the entire FDJ bus here, which was parked outside my bedroom window last night. And they started it up about 6 this morning. Valsleben makes a little bit of a mistake round that corner. So I was woken up by the sounds of Francis Moret's bus being started. But yeah, he's got the entire FDJ bus here for himself, but I think he's now sharing it with some of the other French riders. But that's the level of support Moret's getting on his campaign to try and win the World Championships. Moret at the moment is lying 6th overall in this World Cup. So he can move himself up in the rankings overall. The riders in front of him, Klaas van Toornut in 5th place with 270 points, only 3 points between, 9 points between Moret and van Toornut. In the head of them is Kevin Pauwels, a little bit of a bigger advantage there. We've got around about 46 points between them. Valsleben is way ahead with 344, Niels Albert on 353, and Lars van der Haar with 407. So right on cue we see van der Haar. Here is Valsleben going through the pits. Oops, don't know what happened there, but he gave a good old thump to one of the mechanics in the pits area. There's Van der Haar having a bit of a bike change. Very rapidly done. Valsleben wasn't too impressed with the mechanic not paying attention, so he gave him a good shove and got him out the way. So last time was 5 laps to go. Daniel Manjas keeping the commentary going in the background, keeping everyone informed as to exactly what's going on. Valsleben's advantage is around about 5 seconds now on Tom Musen, with Francis Moret in third, 9 seconds down. Korn van Kessel, Lars van der Haar, Radomir Simunek in 6th place now. Enrico Franzoi of Italy is their best place rider in 13th place. So we started today with Van der Haar leading, Niels Albert in second, Valsleben in third. Valsleben could move up into 2nd place overall in this World Cup as he takes his foot out and just goes sliding around that corner. Kevin Pauwels in 4th, Van Toornut in 5th, and Francis Moret in 6th place. The scoring system for the men's competition, different to the women's. 80 points for the win, 70 for second, 65 for third, 60 for fourth, 55 for 5th and 50 for 6th, and the points go all the way down to 1 point for around about the top, I think it's the top 30. You can see the number of fans now here in Nommay. Because the weather was promised that it might rain or snow overnight, but it never happened. Look at the speed there of Valsleben, who jumps off the bike and just runs the last little section. He's absolutely motoring now. Musen trying to ride all the way to the top. In 3rd place now is Nommay, who goes over the top there, and now he's trying to hunt down Musen. If he wins, this French crowd are going to party. And those of you who've mentioned on earlier on Twitter about beers and frites, no, it's all about crepes with Nutella. That's pretty much how it is around this course, but there's also plenty of hot wine and different wines as well to sample. So it's maybe not as beer-fueled as other events, but it's certainly got a great atmosphere, maybe a little bit more relaxed than other races that we've been to during the season. When we get to Ugaida next week, it's going to be, I think we're going to see a massive crowd. I think it's going to be party weekend, and I know there's an awful lot of people that I know who've sent me messages who've said they are absolutely looking forward to being there for the World Championships. The crowd's going to be huge. I think we're going to enjoy an atmosphere such that we've never seen. So Valsleben leads, dropping off over that little rise there. Really working that bike hard now, isn't he? As he tries to stay away from the rest of this field. And we'll see what sort of advantage he has. The last time check I have is about 8 seconds now on Tom Musen, heading up to complete the 4th lap. You can see that biting, icy cold wind. It might be 4 degrees, but the wind chill, I think, is making it minus something. 30 minutes of racing, 4 laps to go, and that lap was the fastest so far. 7 minutes and 29, an average speed of over 23 kilometers an hour. Nommay now switches into 2nd place. Onto the steps, and it's Musen. And Nommay going up the climb. Here are the next group of riders. Van der Haar, where is he? Just looking to see where Lars van der Haar is. He's now into 5th place still, so he's doing okay. Nothing to worry about at the moment for Lars van der Haar. Right now, he will be winning this World Cup. Listen to the French fans, though. They've seen Nommay move into 2nd place, and he now has to shut an 8-second gap in the next few laps. Has Valsleben gone out too early? Here's Nommay. Oh, we had that little fall. 2 falls on the steps. The German champion then, been hunted down by the French champion. And Nommay is so well known in this area that all his fan club are around here. Valsleben must know that he is being hunted down by the Frenchman. Listen to this, the crowd are going mad. They know that Nommay is getting there. It's not going to be long, is it? The Frenchman is hunting down the rider at the front, the German champion. Through the pits then for the German champion. Here goes Nommay. Is he going to have a bike change? Most of these riders swapping every single lap. Here he goes, jumps onto it, gets that absolutely perfect. So from the high camera, Francis Nommay now is almost there. The advantage is dropping. It's only a few seconds. Valsleben just focused on the job in hand, looking ahead, not worrying too much about what is going on behind him. But if Nommay gets there, this race is going to completely change, isn't it? Valsleben goes sprinting up, making that rise look very, very easy. Look at Nommay now as he gets onto the top of the banking, down the drop-off. Doesn't make any mistake. He knows this course so well. Francis Nommay is absolutely sprinting around this Nommay course. So technical, a little bit slidey. But the fans are now lining every single important section. There's so many kids here as well who are going totally wild. Seen quite a few of them wearing the French champions' colours as well, cheering him on. Well, they love their bike racing in this area, and they love to see a Frenchman heading towards the front of the race. Nommay is sending out a message now, isn't he? He said he wants to win the world title. There's only one big name not here, and that is Sven Nys. 4 seconds now, the advantage that Valsleben has on Nommay as they go racing downhill. Every single one of these World Cup cyclocrosses we've seen this year in the men's elite racing has been an absolute, just looking there, it's been an absolute thrill to watch. We've seen so many fantastic tussles. We've seen riders a minute down who've come back to the front of the race. And today we're seeing another great tussle between two riders. Musen is coming back as well. Who's to say he won't get there? He had a little bit of a rough patch, but he's now looking like he's coming back to this race too. So it's Valsleben from Germany, Nommay from France. Musen is the next rider, who is the Belgian rider from Telenet Fadé, who lies 12th overall in this World Cup. The French flags are out now as they wave Nommay on, trying to give him any little bit of morale boost that they possibly can. Nommay is a small little town. Montbéliard is a little bit bigger, just a few kilometers down the road where most people are staying for this racing. The estimation was we'd have a minimum of 5,000 fans paying to come in to watch today's cyclocross, paying all €10 each. But I'm not surprised if the crowd isn't a little bit bigger than that. In Ugaida next week we're going to have 20, 30,000. Well, I'm looking outside the commentary box and I can see what's great to see is so many youngsters who are just trying to hold themselves over these barriers and bang the boards and bring Nommay the victory. Right, we're going to complete another lap. This will be the completion of the 5th lap. And we're going to see Valsleben for the first time is going to get some company for the last few laps. 3 laps to go. And now Valsleben is joined by Murray and Musen. 3 riders now at the front of this race after 37 minutes of racing. And the crowd are urging these riders on. 7 minutes and 40 seconds was that lap. Nommay looks around to see where the next group is, which is, I think, the group containing Kevin Powles and Lars van der Haar. Now Nommay decides to go to the front. He fell on these steps last time. No such mistake this time. Van der Haar is still in now the tussle for 4th and 5th place. So the World Cup leader crosses the line in 4th place, 28 seconds down. He's with Kevin Powles. Nommay now leads in Nommay. Ahead of Valsleben, Tom Musen finding that turn. A little bit of a struggle, and Nommay now goes on the attack, out the saddle, that back wheel slipping and sliding all over the place, but he gives it some throttle. Onto this rise now, choosing to take the left-hand line, then he goes right across the corner. Nommay looking really focused as this French crowd go wild around this 2.8-kilometre course. And Valsleben's making a few mistakes, a little bit tired now. Musen drops the head a bit. Uphill again, they're going almost side by side up there as Musen, to me, looks pretty tired. So 100 points for the win today would put Francis Nommay on, 80 points would put him on 350 points for the series. Valsleben is in 3rd place, 344 points. So he would be pretty safely in his position. Niels Albert at the moment is the rider who's losing out. He's down in 13th place at the moment. Nommay leads. The question now is he going to try and get rid of Valsleben as Musen starts to drop back a little? Musen is the rider in this trio who is suffering more than anybody else. Through the pits, there's Van der Haar with, for company, Kevin Powles. Great bike change there for the Frenchman. Another little acceleration all the time. Nommay just testing the legs of Valsleben out, seeing whether these little accelerations are hurting the legs of the German. Well, the atmosphere is fantastic, all pretty contained here in Nommay. All the trucks of and the buses and the camper vans of all the riders are all located in one place, just not too far from where I'm sat in the commentary box on the finish line, so it's not a sprawling course. And for the fans, if they stand up on the bank opposite where I am, they can see right out across the course. Are we going to see a French win in this World Cup here in Nommay? It's still, as the camera tries to pick these riders up, Nommay leading with Valsleben right on the wheel. Valsleben was looking around there to see where Musen was. Well, Nommay, in terms of cyclocross at world level this year, has come on leaps and bounds. We've seen him over the last couple of years getting better and better all the time, but his campaign this year has been absolutely fantastic. Is he going to go away with 2 wins out of 7 rounds? Nommay goes up the climb. Well, this crowd, I think, on the final lap as they make their way into the finishing area, could give us an absolutely thrilling atmosphere. Over the top there, and Valsleben runs again. He's chosen to do that pretty much every time. Musen's recovered again. He's the comeback kid. Nommay, quite a stocky short rider. He's got an awful lot of power. There's a replay as we saw Nommay. He hit the little bit of hoardings there on the left-hand side, but it didn't slow him down too much as they go past the jet washers there in the centre of the course. As the mechanics work hard to get these bikes absolutely clean and spotless before the riders come back round to get them. A rider needs about 30 sets of wheels for a cyclo-cross campaign. 3 bikes. My favourite inflatable of the year is that Beko washing machine in the background. That's a great sponsorship, isn't it? So Nommay picking his line as he leads Valsleben. Doesn't even look for a turn from him at the moment. He's happy to maintain his position on the front, picking the line, so he doesn't have to worry about anyone else. He doesn't want anyone to make any mistakes in front of him that would cost him the victory today. Musen is coming back. It'd be very, very impressive if we see Musen get to the front of this race again. And you never know, is he going to go on the attack? Well, he's almost there. He's a rider who is able to just work out what his body is doing. When it goes into the red zone, he just calms down a little bit. And now he's back in the trio as we reach the tarmac. 45 minutes of racing gone, 2 laps to go as Francis Nommay leads with 2 laps to go. Valsleben in second, Musen in third. That is one of the slowest laps we've seen. The opening lap was 7:47, that lap was 7:41, the previous was 7:40, and the fastest lap we've seen was on lap 4, 7 minutes and 29. So we've got 2 laps to decide who wins this World Cup. Kevin Pauwels leads through in 4th place with Lars van der Haar in 5th. We know that the next group is Simunek and Vitsi Bosmans. Bosmans now in 6th place, there he is. Simunek is the rider in the red and yellow. And in 8th place is Rob Peters, who is heading up towards the line. Nommay tries a little bit of a surge, and Tom Musen is the rider who's starting to struggle again. He's gritting his teeth. He's desperately trying to hold on as the Frenchman tries to rid himself of the rest of the riders in his field. So far, though, he has not been able to dislodge Valsleben, who was the early leader, but is now sticking to the wheel of Francis Nommay like the mud of Nommay. Valsleben choosing different lines to Nommay all the time. Now he goes on the inside, round there, decides to just go to the front. Maybe he feels like the pace being set by Nommay is just hurting his legs a little. So he steadies himself through that little corner. Tom Neusen is in third wheel still. He comes back to the wheel of Nommay almost. This is going to be a very interesting tussle at the end of this race between these riders. A couple of spectators falling down the banking, getting a little bit too excited. Well, Valsleben now goes on the attack. He's trying to get rid of Nommay. Has Nommay done a little bit too much work, as suddenly we see a couple of seconds opened up between Valsleben and the Frenchman through the pits area. And it isn't a big attack, but it's just an increase in pace. Here we go, watch this as you go down here. Valsleben took an interesting line through here. Nommay went wide, and then Valsleben cut on the inside. Just intelligently looking at every single little twist and turn, trying to find any way of getting an advantage as Nommay hunts him down yet again. Onto the tarmac. Well, who are you going to choose? Is it going to be the German? Will the Frenchman take this victory? Thank you very much for joining me. For those of you who've tweeted on @AntMcCrossan today, and those of you who visited UCI.ch with all the information leading up to the World Championships next weekend. This is the final round of the World Cup, which will, barring any problem here, be won by Lars van der Haar, the 22-year-old Dutch rider who has looked so impressive all year. Valsleben opens up just a couple more seconds on the rest of the riders. Nommay desperately trying to hold on to give himself a chance of a sprint at the end, but as you can see, the German rider now is committed, the mouth open, as he tries to urge that bike forward and get a little bit of an advantage on Nommay. Nommay just looks a lot more composed. He doesn't look like he's anywhere near his limit yet. He is hunting down the German again. He's let that gap go. Maybe it was just a moment's non-concentration or something. We could see Philip Valsleben moving into second overall in the World Cup, because Niels Albert, his teammate, is absolutely nowhere near the top places. It's been interesting to see Niels Albert. His form is up and down all the time. He finished 11th, 6th, then a victory, then 3rd, then 13th, and then he won in Roma. So he's just a little bit of a mistake there by Nommay, as he came to a standstill at the top of that climb, and Valsleben now opens up the advantage again. He senses the problem that Nommay has had. This racing is flat out. Here we go, Valsleben goes up the climb. Nommay looked like, yep, I've got him, and then suddenly a little bit of a standstill, and Valsleben has the advantage as they go down that descent. Suddenly though, Nommay is about to catch the rider in front of him, and Neusen is also going to be there as well. This is great racing in Nommay. Right, what are the tactics going to be on the final lap of racing? The crowd are all massing in the finishing area. They're starting to make their way round to enjoy the finishing sprint. There's a lot of nervous-looking French folk just outside my commentary box. You see the way these riders have to work these bikes through the mud. Just the shoulders and the arms and everything aching. Looking down here on Lars van der Haar. This rider's not far now from an historic victory, a great campaign over the last few weeks. He said to me before, got to carry on training this week. The World Championships beckon. Who's to say van der Haar won't be world champion next weekend? Onto the tarmac again. This time, these riders are going to get shown one lap of racing to go. It is the trio who have dominated the racing so far, and Tom Musen now goes on the attack. This is the bell lap. One lap to go. Musen leads, Valsleben in second, Nommay in third. That is the equal third fastest lap we've seen as Tom Musen hits the front. Valsleben in second. Nommay doesn't make any mistakes that time. Tom Musen just shows what happens when you just keep digging deep. Over the last few weeks, he's been on good form. He was second to Sven Nys in Zonnebeek. He was third to Sven in Leuven. So he's been showing some great form. Lars van der Haar crosses the line now in fourth place. He's 50 seconds down, but it doesn't matter. Somewhere, if she's watching, Lucy Garner, who rides, of course, for the Giant Shimano team, will be breaking out into a big smile as she knows Lars is going to be hopefully safe in the World Cup Championship. He's going to take the victory. He's got one lap to go. He just has to get safely round here. Musen now testing the legs of these riders. Valsleben having to work the shoulders to get back to the wheel of Tom Musen. Are we going to see him take this victory after he looked like he was done a few laps ago? Valsleben takes that interesting line yet again. He cuts right in. Nommay hasn't got that corner right. He loses a few lengths. Tom Musen so far, we saw him 6th in Valkenburg. He then didn't feature in the top 6 in Tabor. We saw him 6th in Koksijde, 6th in Namur, and now he leads this World Cup round. Nommay overtakes Valsleben. He wants to win in front of his home crowd. He's going to give this full throttle. Musen, oh, he has a little mistake there. The bike comes to a standstill. Number 4 there is Kevin Powles as he also comes to a standstill. And now Francis Nommay finds the wheel of Musen, and for the first time Valsleben is dropping back a little bit. He's finding the pace too hot to handle as Musen trudges his way through the sticky mud of Nommay with now Francis Nommay right on the wheel as they go through to the pits. They'll all take now new bikes, nice and clean, ready for the final run into the finish. I just caught a glimpse of the British champion Ian Field going across the other side of the pits there. There is Musen, he's onto a fresh bike. Nommay keeping an eye right on the back wheel. Valsleben recovers, he comes right back to the wheel of Francis Nommay. We're going to see possibly a 3-up sprint on the tarmac to decide who takes the final round of this World Cup here in Nommay. Well, Nommay is the only rider in this trio to have won a World Cup round so far. He won in Namur and alongside the Citadel, right above Namur. Now he goes to the front, and the French crowd are going absolutely wild now as they sense a possible victory. But has he done the wrong thing? Can Tom Musen sprint past him as Nommay takes the corner there, and Musen leaves a couple of lengths onto the climb as they go sprinting up there. It's Nommay who decides not to shoulder the bike. He jumps safely back on. Musen is there, so is Valsleben. Any one of these 3 riders has got the right caliber to win the final sprint on the tarmac back here at the finish line. Nommay now attacks over the top. as they tried to go with him. Musen is working the shoulders, but Valsleben decides that he's got to try and get on the wheel. And now the French fans are going absolutely nuts. Round the corners, the twists and turns, as Nommay now attacks yet again. Is he doing too much? Because of course you don't want to be leading right down this tarmac. Musen's got a really good sprint on him. Turning left now, and it is still Nommay. He's just trying to get a couple of seconds advantage on the second place rider, which he has. He beat Van Toornet and Albert in Namur, and now Nommay opens up a little bit of daylight between him and Musen. Third place is Valsleben. Down this drop-off as he goes to the... Oh, Musen makes a little bit of a mistake there as he goes up on the grass, and that gives Nommay another little bit of a hint of a possible victory. Sprints over the top into the shadow of the trees now, down the drop-off. You've got to get this right-hand turn right, and Musen now gets back onto the wheel of Francis Nommay, who goes absolutely sprinting up this climb. Is he going to have enough to get over the top? He does, and he goes over the top. Musen has to check himself there. They're banging the urgently now, rocks the shoulders and gives it a little bit more throttle. There's the British champion Ian Field in the finishing area, and we see Musen back onto the wheel now. If this comes to a sprint, don't count against Tom Musen taking this victory, but if there's enough sound from these French fans, I think Francis Nommay's ears are going to be absolutely ringing at the end of this race, because they're going totally mental. Here we go now, across this track. It's not far to the finish. They're going to go past the giant washing machine, and they're going to need that at the end of the afternoon. It's so muddy here in the Nommay course. Musen now safely onto the wheel of the Frenchman. Valsleben in third place. It's absolutely freezing here as Musen now, they block him out. Francis Nommay, oh, they're going shoulder to shoulder. Valsleben and Musen rocking each other. Little bit of elbows, little bit of shoulders. Nommay now, look, they're all looking for any possible turn. What a finish. Well, this is absolutely thrilling. Valsleben makes a mistake. Musen is there on the front. Nommay's looking to try and get past him. Who's going to get onto the tarmac first? It's going to be a sprint on 19 PSI tyres. Now Nommay goes on the attack again as the French go totally wild. They're going absolutely mental. I can hear Daniel Manjas in my ears, and he's outside the box now, down onto the tarmac. Nommay desperately trying to right the bike there. Musen is onto the wheel. Valsleben is a couple of lengths back. Here we go now. Who's going to take it? The final round of the World Cup here in Nommay as the sprint is opened up. Musen goes for it. Nommay's going to take him towards the barriers. Valsleben is spent. Nommay's still going. Musen goes for it. Musen takes it. What a win ahead of Francis Nommay. Tom Musen finally wins a round of this World Cup this season. And he was the rider who all race looked like he was absolutely filled with lactic acid. It was up to his eyeballs, and still he managed to recover. Nommay, what a race. Well, the French will absolutely love the fighting spirit of Francis Nommay. He's won a round in Namur. He was second here today, but Tom Musen finally takes a round of the World Cup, and he is absolutely wrecked. He can't even recover. That was some finish, wasn't it? Lars van der Haar now races into the finishing straight. He points to the white jersey as the World Cup leader, and now he is the winner. Lars van der Haar is the World Cup winner of this season. A stunning performance from this youngster. He finishes in fourth place today, and he is safe at the top of the leaderboard. He's done absolutely everything right.
Quelle course, non seulement quelle finale, mais on a eu une intense de compétition.
Well, I don't know about you, but that was absolutely thrilling. Look at this. Nommay and Musen shoulder to shoulder. Valsleben also now and then giving Musen a little bit of a nudge. But into the finishing straight, Nommay and Musen side by side, and Musen has the better sprint. So the rest of the riders now heading in towards the finishing area. That was a stunning race, running through the top places. Behind Van der Haar was Simionek, Kevin Powles, Vitsi Bosmans, Rob Peters, Bart Arnout's Klaas van Toornut made up the top 10. Just to give you also an update for anyone who's an American fan, Jeremy Powers finishes 15th place. Niels Albert made his way into 12th place, which will make the final standings quite interesting. So we'll get our breath back and we will bring you in a few moments the presentation from today. So the mechanics making their way back to the pits, back from the pits, getting the bikes all sorted. Well, I'm just working out the standings at the end of today, and by my standings, I think Lars van der Haar will be second. Philip Valsleben will be in. Lars van der Haar will win the overall title. Valsleben will be second, and in third will be Niels Albert. So today's result puts Valsleben right back up there into second place. There's the result. I'll let you read through that. Jeremy Powers there in 15th place. Jonathan Page finishes in 23rd for the United States. So a big crowd are going to cheer everyone onto the podium now. So what does that tell us? There's the standings then. Lars van der Haar wins the World Cup for this season. 467 points. A dominant performance. Valsleben in second, as I mentioned, and Niels Albert in third. Just see Ian Field there, rides for Hargrove Cycles there in the front, getting his British Champions jersey on. There we go. Who else can we pick out in this crowd? We've got everyone getting interviewed in front of the podium as we wait for the ceremony. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's racing. I'm looking forward to the World Championships next week, heading to Hoogehede, ready for those races. Heading there on Friday, and going to be there for the entire weekend. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely spectacular weekend of racing. Everyone just getting their thermal tops on to recover, and shortly I'm sure we'll have an interview with Tom Musen.
You win today after a sprint. How tough was that sprinting against Mouret, the French champion?
I had a really bad piece in the track. There was the most mud of the track, and when I knew when I can pass there in front, I lose there every lap so much time, and I could be there in front the last lap. And I knew if I could be there first, I could go to the sprint. And I beat Mouret already once in Kalmthout for a third place sprint, but today was for a victory. That's something else. So I'm really happy that I can win here in his home country.
A great win, of course. You know what everybody's going to say right now. You're a candidate for the world's podium next week in Hoogehede.
Yeah, and the next question will be that it's bad luck to win before the world. So I'm really happy with it, with this race. I didn't win so much this season, so I am happy with every race that I can win.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Nice to hear from today's winner. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Is it bad luck to win a week from the World Championships? Well, he looks to me like today he was able to hurt himself. He had some bad moments out there on that course, and still he dug deep and he just found his way back. That's the sign of a true champion. When things are going wrong, you're able to fix them, and then you're able to come back at the riders in front of you. That's what he did. He never gave up. He just hung on and hung on till he felt better. The victory to Tom Musen today. And that does mean that next week, when we get to the men's elite race, we will be mentioning the name of Tom Musen as a possible winner of the world title.
Le créateur de l'épreuve adressera ses félicitations également au lauréat sur le podium dans un court moment. Donc Tom Musen qui aura fait une course super, car c'est lui qui a déclenché les hostilités.
So we wait now for the presentation.
Tom Musen a fait toute la course en tête. Francis Mouret aurait voulu aller chercher cette victoire. Denis Mercier est à mes côtés, avec je ne sais pas combien de bénévoles avant de commencer la cérémonie protocolaire. Vous voyez le jeune homme qui est là, avec la petite moustache, c'est lui qui a créé cette épreuve. Je crois que vous pouvez l'applaudir très fort. 10e Coupe du Monde, 10 fois la Coupe du Monde à Nommay. C'est un exploit, c'est une...
Well, it's been great to come back here to Nommay for a World Cup. Haven't had one here since 2009, so fantastic to see racing back here on this course. Without doubt, been very, very popular with the fans.
Effectivement, Daniel, je confirme que c'est la première fois qu'on a une telle affluence. Ça nous a un petit peu surpris, mais agréablement surpris, il faut le dire quand même. Je voulais en profiter quand même pour remercier ce public qu'on attendait, nombreux, qui a répondu à notre attente. Merci très très sincèrement du fond du cœur. On a besoin de vous. Vous êtes venus et c'est vraiment...
Looking back through the last few rounds of racing, and you see where Van Tenoot and everyone else.
On est 335 bénévoles aujourd'hui.
We've been able to see all the different riders, how they performed. So as we wait for the podium, I think we're just going to see a few little highlights of what has gone on today.
la compétition, Francis Mouret, après une course-poursuite exceptionnelle d'intensité, a viré en tête au moment d'entamer la dernière ligne droite. L'un comme l'autre voulait gagner cette dernière manche de la Coupe du Monde, cette finale de la Coupe du Monde. Et ça nous a permis évidemment d'assister à un moment absolument exceptionnel de cyclo-cross. Voilà, tout est retour, ça, si je peux dire, merci. Tout est en train de se mettre en place maintenant pour la cérémonie protocolaire qui va commencer dans un commandement en tout temps, tout d'abord.
So 1 week to go to the conclusion of the cyclocross season. The road cycling season has now started with the Tour Down Under and the Tour de Saint Louis, which happened over the last few days. And it won't be too long until we hear the tones of Daniel Manjas in the Tour de France in July, will it? So here we are then, as we present the riders in the top places today in Nommay for the final round of the World Cup. In third place, the German champion, Philipp Valsleben. Those legs are sore as he makes his way onto the podium. A popular second place for Francis Mouret, the French champion. And the winner from Telenet Fedea, Tom Musen. I get the feeling Valsleben and Musen have had a few words today after that race. A little bit of bumping and barging going on. I think we're right, aren't we? That's bike racing. These things happen. Everyone wanted to win today. Tom Musen wins here in Nommay, the final round of the World Cup. Him and Philipp Valsleben have had a bit of a smile now, so I think everything is all okay. So they receive now the trophies.
Le troisième de l'épreuve, donc Valsleben, le champion d'Allemagne. Maintenant, eh bien, nos charmantes demoiselles, nos trois sœurs, vont remettre donc les bouquets aux trois lauréats.
So these riders will head to Uganda for next week's racing. They'll test the course out on Thursday, give them a little bit of a flavour of what to expect in the World Championships, and then we'll see them taper down, ready for racing at the weekend. There's your podium today then. Philippe Valsleben, Francis Moret, and the winner, Tom Musen.
Un de nos 3 champions, le plus heureux bien évidemment, Tom. Mais on peut dire à chacun de ces athlètes présidents sur le podium que la course qu'ils nous ont fait vivre a été absolument exceptionnelle. Vous avez vécu un très grand moment de cyclocross. Je crois qu'on peut les applaudir plus fort encore.
Well, a few gifts presented then to these 3 riders. We are, of course, waiting for the presentation now of the World Cup for this season. So we move on to the second podium presentation, which will be the presentation of the World Cup winner. Well, in third place in this World Cup will be Niels Albert, who's had an interesting run of performances over the last few months. He did, of course, win back here in 2009, the last World Cup. He beat Stibar and Moret. Moret was third that day. Always a technical and muddy course, but Niels Albert over the last few rounds of racing, he's had 2 wins, but he's been as low as 13th, and today is in 12th place, just maybe a little bit out of sorts. Niels Albert in 3rd place overall in this year's World Cup. In 2nd place, back on the podium for the 2nd time today, Philippe Valsleben. But the winner of the World Cup after 7 rounds of racing, Lars van der Haar, 3 wins, a 2nd place, a 5th place, and today he finishes in 4th place. But he is the winner of the World Cup with a final points total of 467 points. The 2nd place rider Valsleben with 409.
Belgique, je crois qu'on peut applaudir les 3 nations présentes sur le podium. Ça valait le coup de se déplacer cet après-midi à Nommay pour cette finale de la Coupe du Monde de cyclocross. Bravo à Van der Haar qui a, rappelons-le, gagné.
So the winner of the World Cup cyclocross is this young rider from the Netherlands, Lars van der Haar.
Il a terminé 4e. Sa régularité lui permet d'être.
He's won the World Cup already at 22. How many more years of dominance of cyclocross has this youngster got?
Deuxième, Valsleben. Troisième, Niels Albert. C'est avec ce podium et les félicitations de monsieur Stetina, donc membre de la direction du comité directeur de l'Union cycliste internationale.
So that's the final podium after 7 rounds of great racing, taking us from Valkenburg through Tabor, Kokstede and Namur, into Zolder and through Roma, back to here, to the finish in Nommay, to crown the winner, Lars van der Haar. A fantastic series of racing. So we're going to get ready for the World Championships. We're 1 week away to find out who takes the rainbow bands that every cyclist dreams of taking and wearing for a whole year afterwards. Thank you very much to all of you for joining me. Thanks for all your messages, your emails, your texts and everything else over the last few months. And from me, Anthony McCrossan, thanks very much for watching. and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.